Obviously, you built it from zero to now being almost $500 million in 2024 is what you guys should hit. What's like the vision for the Brokery? Where are you guys going to take it?
We want to make $3 million. We can go make $3 million. We want to make 10. We can go make 10. It's unlimited. And that's the best part of our business is we get up out of bed every day and get to go and unlock any potential that we want. That's, super fulfilling.
It's a journey. You've created a journey for yourself. Every day we wake up, there's a journey to be had. And there's a point like, yes, would I like to make $10 million a day? That'd be amazing. I'm just not there yet. But along that journey, I want to bring everybody up. You look at the most amazing athletic players, NFL teams, basketball teams, soccer clubs, everyone still needs a coach. So when we talk about investing, not only do you want to invest back into your brand, you want to invest into a coach that helps elevate you and holds you accountable.
Guys, think about this. If I'm staring at my phone like this, if you're on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening, I'm putting my phone close to my face. If I'm doing this, I can't see much. The second I pull it away, I can see everything. It's the same thing with business. If you're in your business, you can't see all the problems because you're so close. You step back and you're working on the business, or you have a third party seeing it. They see things you don't see because you're so dang close to what you're actually looking at.
If you're someone who's looking to do development or looking to do flips, I always try to talk people out of it. If you have $300,000 to invest, let's say you're going to put it into a flip, you're better off lending that money to your friend at 10 to 12 or 15%, which I know is what you do now, and being the bank. The bank always wins. Regardless of if that flipper investor makes money on the home or not, the only person that won the entire time that they held that property was the bank.
It's the best way to be in real estate is to be the bank, because
this is the Mr. BRRRR Show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today on the Mr. BRRRR Show, there is a first. This has never happened before on the show where I interview two people at the same time. It's always been just one person, an entrepreneur, an author, what have you. Today, I have two individuals who have built a very sizable brokerage out here in Phoenix, Arizona. I believe now they're the largest in Phoenix, and they've got a pretty cool model where they're wanting to stay really local and go like a mile deep instead of, 10 miles wide or what have you. So it's going to be fun. We're going to dig into kind of how they built this up to being on pace for almost $500 million in real estate sales this year. So you guys are going to get a lot of value from it. The cool thing too is one of the partners I went to high school with. We played basketball. I know, guys, I'm only 5'6", but I had hops. All right. I had a quick first step. So haven't touched the ball in forever, but that's another story. Guys, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Tucker Blaylock and Oleg Bortman. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for the intro, dude. That was great. Really good.
Thanks for having us. So excited to be here.
Of course. Well, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that Oleg is the guy that dresses up. He said this is his down attire. He doesn't have the three-piece on right now. He's not wearing the zoot suit. And Tucker is more laid back. He's always in jeans and a blazer. But good to have you guys on, man. Thanks for spending some time with us. And let's get into a little bit of maybe your backstory, Oleg. How you're an immigrant, right, from across the pond.
Yeah. So I was born in the Soviet Union. Came over just under the age of 4 and landed in New Jersey. We were Jewish immigrants. We were sponsored by a family in the U.S., which we were very blessed to have that opportunity. Back then, it was still the Soviet Union. All Jewish families were always accepted in Israel. My parents wanted to take the harder road and come to America to live the American dream. And so I grew up in Jersey. Spent almost 30 years out east. Went to college out there. Met my soulmate in the customs line in the Cayman Islands. She happened to be from Phoenix, Arizona, about 8 years younger than me. And it took me a couple years to break her down, to show her the light that I was the right one for her. And then eventually I worked for a big pharmaceutical company and they moved me out west. Lived in Vegas for 3 years and then we settled out here in 2007, my wife and I. And the journey's been unbelievable, living the American dream every single day. Got my license out here in real estate and ran into this cat next to me, Tucker, at my first open house in Arcadia. He was just finishing up his 4 years as a Marine. So very blessed to have a business partner, a brilliant partner and who served our country and really has given us the freedoms to be here in America. And 15 years later, we work every day, wake up, married with 2 kids. I wish I had your sweatshirt on, says it, Data. I love it. It looks great on you, bro. So thank you for having us. That's kind of a snapshot of my journey.
Well, very cool, man. Couple things I want to unpack there. One, when you met your wife in the customs line, what did you say? Like, how did it all start, right? Like, did she hit on you? Did you hit on her? And there's probably her side to the story, so we'll take yours at face value.
Yeah, I grew up in Jersey, so I was one of those Jersey guys, like the Jersey Shore. So I worked out all the time.
Bro, did you ever blow out?
Now you had cornrows.
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. But
We gotta get pictures of that. We gotta get pictures of that.
text my wife. I'm sure she'll hit you up on those. But I was I won a trip through Abbott for sales, and our trip that year was for the Cayman Islands. My wife's mom owned an insurance agency, and they had a program domiciled out of the Cayman Islands. So she took her kids twice a year for the corporate meeting. So they were heading in, we were heading in, and this was actually a interesting time. It was in May of 2001, about 6 months before 9/11. And
Tucker and I were still in high school.
yeah. So was my wife, and she was 18, so she was just finishing her freshman year at AU. But we were going in, and they were in line in front of me, and they were talking about passports. Customs line, you could be stuck there for 5 minutes or 45 minutes. And the year before,
He just knew he had a captive audience.
that's right, they were stuck. I didn't have much content, growing up in Jersey.
And when you're in the customs line, you've got like the little guardrails, right? So she couldn't get away.
She was stuck.
Man,
Uh,
you're a smart guy. Now I see why you do well in business.
It was awesome. So, like, they were talking about, they just got back from Sydney, Australia, and our trip for Abbott at that time for next year would have been Australia. So I just started chatting them up and talking about traveling a lot. And then that night, we walk into a bar. It's called the Lone Star, whatever place in the Cayman Islands. And my wife, but Jenny at that time, was at the end of the bar, and I'm like, "Oh, what's the drinking age out here?" And they're like 18. I was like, "Oh, sweet, let's have a drink." So that's how it all started.
Wow. All right. Good stuff, man. And then, so the other thing I want to unpack there is you being an immigrant. So I've always heard that immigrants have like this just inner drive to just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, especially if you're brought over at a really young age. You hear of like Gary Vee and
Yep.
people like that. So is that true? Is that kind of like that burning desire inside you just to always keep building and chasing that American dream?
It is. My parents came over. My mom was 30. My father was 42 at the time. And in other countries, you don't know anything other than working 6 days a week. Right? So you transfer that skill set into a country that you're already not speaking the language. My parents were making 50 cents an hour.
Wow.
Back then. So in 79 and in 80, so that's all they knew. So at 11 years old, I was helping. I think I got my first paper route. I was excited to make like a 15-cent tip on Fridays when I had to collect the money for the newspapers I delivered. But that's all we knew. So my father would get up early. He was a sheet metal mechanic. He'd go to work at 6 o'clock, and I'd be back till 5. So, and he grinded it out. I don't know, it was maybe $1.50 an hour, maybe $2 an hour. My mom was a seamstress, so she was working in a coat factory, putting on like cuffs and sleeves to coats, and it was piecework. I don't know if anybody even knows what piecework was. You get paid for every piece that you actually did. So she'd get like 10 cents or 15 cents to sew the cuff onto the arm. So the more cuffs she would sew on, the more money she would make. So that's just kind of I grew up in an environment that we all worked as a family. So whatever we made, we even threw back into the house because, we had an apartment you had to pay rent for. And I was just excited that I can go to school every day. And, the only thing I got teased for was my name. no one could pronounce it right, and my ear stuck out. So at least I was getting some kind of attention.
One more thing I'd like to hit on as well is when his parents found out that he wasn't going to be a doctor. So if Ole can go into that.
Yeah, that's
well.
Probably super disappointed.
Super. Jewish immigrant coming to America. Every Jewish immigrant boy is either going to be a doctor or a lawyer. That's it. We didn't leave for anything else because titles were more important than success. If you're a doctor or a lawyer, you made it. So I went to school for bio pre-med, got a degree in that, and then I started working in the lab for a couple of years. My mom's like, well, when are you going to take your MCATs? I'm like, well, Mom, just relax. Give me another year. And then I got a job doing pharmaceutical sales, and I never looked back ever since. But it was heartbreaking. Oh, my God, my son's a salesman. And now she's so proud that her son's a salesman.
Yeah, super proud. Because you guys are helping out a lot of families, putting them into beautiful, beautiful homes out in the Arcadia area and Biltmore. Anyone local knows those areas, and you guys are a staple in those communities. So I love what you guys are doing. And one thing that I think is really funny, you said piecework. That's something that a lot of people don't know about. That is really, really good, I think, for economies, because think about it. You're getting paid more for the more you produce.
Right.
That's how it really should be. But so many people are on things where they're on like a set salary. They get paid a certain amount, clock in, clock out. I'm not going to do any more than I have to, right?
Yep.
I think it's a lot better when people actually have to produce more to get paid more. And that's the beautiful thing about sales. You have to produce more to get more. And there's no ceiling, right?
And I've only been a sales guy in the fact that we run a real estate brokerage, but Oleg prior to worked at Abbott, like he said, and he felt like he was always capped. Even though he was outperforming his quota every year, he was always capped because he was at a bigger corporation. So as entrepreneurs, now what we have is a completely unlimited, uncapped system where we get paid for what we do. And that's the most amazing thing for he and I is to go out. If we want to make $3 million, we can go make $3 million. If we want to make 10, we can go make 10. It's unlimited. And that's the best part of our business is we get up out of bed every day and get to go and unlock any potential that we want. And that to me is super fulfilling.
I like that. So let's touch on that a little bit with you, Tucker. I mean, because I agree 100% when it comes to sales, when it comes to those kind of things. If you're not at a big corporation, because they can turn the dial up and down, all these different things. I know because I did that at Quicken Loans. Like they would always switch up comp plans and do these different things that would seem good on the surface, but when you really dug into it, you're making less.
Yes.
It's better for their bottom line. So if someone is listening to this on the treadmill, if they're driving in their car and they're in sales and they're like, I hear what he's saying, but I've only got so much time. Like, how can you, as business owners, how have you guys scaled to kind of take time out of the equation where you can kind of just have this machine running for you even while you guys are asleep? Or is that possible in your guys' business?
Yeah, and I think for myself, speaking personally as well, like time horizon has always been something that we've been challenged with, right? And I think if people give a longer perspective to what they're doing, because nothing happens overnight. Oleg and I grinded by ourselves from zero. He and I got into real estate at the same time with zero sales to our name, no track record. And we built everything that we did through results and through losses. And so through losing a lot and over time, we've gotten to where we are. And now we found ourselves at this place where we do have a moat because of all the things that we've done in the past and that we've tried through trial and error. Just recently in our market, two of our biggest competitors who are independent companies in our local market, they were purchased or acquired by a big corporation called Compass, who's the largest luxury real estate brokerage in the country. They're publicly traded. So Oleg and I are really one of the last companies standing in our market that's independent. And so what we're trying to do is really drive a wedge between us and corporate America, where we can remain nimble, we can align ourselves with our neighbors rather than our shareholders, and we can operate from a place that's genuine and give back to the community and do things that we like to do and give to charitable contributions that we want to give to. And to us, honestly, at the end of the day, it's also about helping other agents and other people around us to be more successful. And we feel like we get the dream every day to go and do that and give back, where we wouldn't have that opportunity with the corporation. So he and I really relish in the fact that, we're still on this journey together. Now with the sizable moat that we feel that we have, that we've built over time, because we had a longer horizon. We always invested a lot of money back into ourselves. About 50% of all of our gross profits went back into our own business. So on the way up, we never felt like we had a lot of money because we always put it back into our business because we were betting on ourselves. And so we'll continue to do that in the future. And If Oleg wants to add to that, he can as well.
Look, we're blessed every day. We have two amazing people that love us and support us to follow our dream, and our dream is to give back. I'm a big legacy guy. I want to create a legacy, and for God who brought, I'm a big believer the journey. Like, I wake up every day, God gives me opportunities, choices every day. For a reason, He brought Tucker in my life. My wife calls us yin and yang. We're very, very different people. He looks good. I have to dress up to look good, so that's already a start. But the core values for us are the same: our ethics, our workability, our responsiveness, and our wanting to see the country move forward and pay it forward to the people that are joining us in our journey. Right? It's a journey. You've created a journey for yourself. Every day we wake up, there's a journey to be had. And there's a point, like, yes, would I like to make $10 million a day? That'd be amazing. I'm just not there yet. But along that journey, I want to bring everybody up. So those that see the culture that we've created, it's the giving back culture to not only our neighbors, but seeing potential. Someone was my mentor when I was younger. Someone took a risk. They took time out of their day to find my potential. That's what Tucker and I are doing, is finding other gems out there and people that are willing to work as hard as us. If you're not willing to work as hard, we get it. There's 5,800 other brokerages. You can go to corporate world. I started in corporate world, and I loved everything Abbott trained me. I'm so appreciative to this day. But I also want to give back to those other entrepreneurs that are willing to take the risk at a younger age, older age. It doesn't matter. We're here for them just as they are for us.
I love it. Guys, one thing that Oleg just said that I really think you should rewind and listen to again, and most people kind of might have just in one ear and out the other, is taking risks at a young age. So important. If you think about the older you get, you start getting more responsibilities. You got a mortgage, you got a wife, you got kids, you got to take them to baseball practice, soccer practice. There's so many things you have to do. You can't take risks anymore. When you're young, let's say right out of high school, college, whatever it might be, you can take a ton of risks because you don't have a lot of responsibilities. You don't have a bunch of overhead. So something that you said there about taking risks, I think people really need to lean into that, especially if they're really young. This is when you should be trying different businesses. You should be trying to find your footing. And that way, if you mess up, guess what? You still got this really long runway, like Tucker said, where you can keep doing things. Tuck, you're what, 37, 38?
Yep.
38, still super freaking young, right?
So,
Oleg, how old are you, Oleg?
I'm 48. I'm 10 years older than him.
Still super young. The average life expectancy as of today for men is 80 years old. With AI and all the modern technology, I guarantee we are all going to be living to be 100 on average.
From your mouth to God's ears, baby.
This is if AI doesn't kill us first, and becomes Terminator and everything. But, dude, these Tesla robots, have you guys seen these?
Oh, my God.
Insane. I watched it and I was like, this is freaking wild.
Let me give you a funny story really quick. My brother had his wedding last week, and the bride is from Wisconsin, and they're out there in the rural area. They're farmers. They don't see city life very often. They fly into Sky Harbor Airport, and there's Waymos everywhere. And these people lose their freaking minds. They have no idea what a self-driving car is, and they come to Phoenix, and there's self-driving cars. There's Waymos cruising around. They were freaked, man. They did not want any part of it.
The first time I saw one, I was like, there's no one in the driver's seat of that car. What is going on?
And you still never get out.
I still have not sat in one of those things, man. I'm still not comfortable.
I want to, but they don't service my area in Desert Ridge. I'm right outside of the service area, so I can't do one yet, taking it to and from my house. But first time I ever saw something like that, it was at ASU. I forget what I was down there for, but it wasn't a Waymo. It was this little pod, and I guess it was delivering food. So this little pod is just going across the street on the crosswalk. I was like, what the hell is that thing? I took a picture of it. I sent it to my wife. I'm like, what is going on right now? I think it was probably 2020, 2019. Just insane, man. Insane. So talking about like time horizon, you guys have a lot of time ahead of you. The business you guys have had since 2016, right?
Yes, we've been together since about 2012. We purchased a small brokerage that we worked for at the time in 2016, rebranded, changed the name, opened up our flagship office in Arcadia, and we've been there since 2017.
Beautiful. So from then you guys had zero, obviously built it from zero to now being almost $500 million in 2024 is what you guys should hit. What's kind of the what's like the vision for the brokery? Where are you guys going to take it?
Yeah, so I think at present time we're, quality over quantity. We will take flyers on people that are maybe corporate background, high ceiling, high caliber people that maybe they don't have a great track record, but we know that we can grow them with their discipline, their work ethic. We're not always looking for the top producer. We're looking for somebody, like we said, that aligns with our culture. We call it business minded. They're willing to invest back in themselves. That's one of our huge core values. They have to be business minded. So someone who's willing to invest back in themselves, who's willing to put in the time. A lot of agents think they're working full hours, but it's really 8 hours a week doing 2 open houses for 4 hours each. That's not our thing. You've got to work a full 40, and that's really tough for a lot of agents to do, but we coach them to get there, and that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on, is giving back a lot of our time to mentor these people and shepherd them through, especially the first year or two. It's a big burden on us, but it's one that we fulfill our needs and our wants with, is helping people grow. And so that's one thing that we're all about, is just growth mindset.
Got it. So getting those people that have the entrepreneur mindset, but they don't necessarily want to go build their own company.
Yeah, and we've been there. We've learned through all of our losses. We don't have to recreate the flywheel. We give it to them. We give them our proprietary system, and they can run with it, but they have to be willing to invest back in themselves. That's the number one thing.
Are you talking about invest back into themselves, like
monetarily, because in our business, you have to be able to spend ROI, right? So like, yeah, you can go do open houses and you can do these things. One thing that we built our business upon was direct mail. So we still really preach, farming to a niche sub-market and just dominating that market, becoming the guy or gal for that market.
Got it. Now, guys, one thing to know about these two is they have, most of their agents are on 1099s, or all of them, right?
All of them.
1099. So if you guys are listening to this, if you're 1099, if you're an agent, if you're really anyone who's 1099, you should be investing back into yourself, because you can write it off. That's the beautiful thing, is like, if you spend a bunch on yourself to make yourself more valuable, you now have a lower taxable income. It took me a while to realize that, coming from a W-2 lifestyle for 34 years, where you've only got so many write-offs, like a 401k is a write-off, but it's really just a tax deferral. That's all you really have as a W-2 employee. Once you become a 1099 or a business owner, you can write off your cell phone, the place where you work, your internet bill, putting back into yourself, going to masterminds, all these things. So you take all your deductions first, then you pay taxes on what's left over. So guys, if you're listening to this, take his advice and pour into yourself. Keep actually spending money on yourself so you become more valuable. You'll make more money, but you also pay less taxes, right?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
And talk about what you were just saying, I'm going to add on that, is all of us also still need a coach. You look at the most amazing athletic players, NFL teams, basketball teams, soccer clubs, everyone still needs a coach. So when we talk about investing, not only do you want to invest back into your brand, you want to invest into a coach that helps elevate you and holds you accountable. For the last 5-6 years, Tucker and I still have a business coach, because they see something that we don't see. Because when you're in, you don't always want to be working in the business. You want to be working on the business. And we get stuck into everyday activities, so we're stuck in it. So having a coach, accountability partner, whatever you need, you have to invest in that as well.
It's so true, because guys, think about this. If I'm staring at my phone like this, if you're on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening, I'm putting my phone close to my face. If I'm doing this, I can't see much. The second I pull it away, I can see everything. It's the same thing with business. If you're in your business, you can't see all the problems because you're so close. You step back and you're working on the business, or you have a third party seeing it. They see things you don't see because you're so dang close to what you're actually looking at, right? Is that what you mean?
Exactly, 100%.
Love it. Love it. Well, you've got a book coming out, or is it already out?
It came out in January.
Congrats.
Thank you very, very much. It was one of those also like a legacy project I always wanted to have. I thought about it about right before my wife and I had our first son, or Levi. And
That name.
thank you. And I wanted, because I'm a believer, I don't know if I have an hour left on the planet or another, hopefully 50 years, right? Through AI, at least 80, we were saying, maybe if I'm lucky, 96, 98, who knows? But I wanted to leave a memoir for my kid and my wife and other people. So I started this project like 13 years ago. If anyone's written a book, it's not easy. I got about 12 pages in, and then I called it a day. So I shelved it for a long time, and then I brought it back to existence 2 years ago. And when I changed the concept up a little bit, because I realized I'm not a good writer, and writing 150 pages would put me to sleep, let alone my audience. So I decided to do an anthology, and I got 12 super close friends of my life that have also been very successful entrepreneurs, none of them being a physician and none of them being an attorney. They were just risk takers. So I put this anthology together.
Wait a minute. So you didn't become an attorney or a doctor, and you have no friends that are attorneys or doctors. Your mom is pissed.
Pissed.
She's pissed.
I have some friends that are doctors, attorneys, but none of them wrote in my book on purpose, because it's an entrepreneur book. It's people like you would be. Your story is amazing. So people that have a story of how they became successful. Tucker's a great writer. I actually asked him to write, but he was very busy.
I didn't want to take the shine.
Yeah, he gave a spot up for somebody else. But it's an incredible book. It's called Always Ahead. My wife helped me with the title, and why, for anybody out there who are Seinfeld fans, my wife, family, we love Seinfeld, and there was an episode years ago, we used to watch it all the time. We still watch it reruns. It was the episode where Jerry had even Steven. So he had George, who's like the loser, and then Elaine, who was always winning. And then he was like, oh my God, he lost $20. He threw $20 out of his leather jacket. And all of a sudden he put on another coat and he found $20. So his motto was, I'm even Steven. And I told my wife, I look at my wife, we're watching it on the couch. She's like, Jenny, look, I'm even Steven. She's like, no, like you're always ahead. Our life is always ahead. So that's kind of where the title came from. And it's so true, because in life, I'm always ahead. If I wake up every morning, I kind of celebrate every day is my birthday. There is an app for that. It's called the Age Calculator. So I'm over 18,000 days old. It's like 18,228 days old today. So every day I wake up
old as hell.
Old, bro, old. Good thing I tell you how many seconds old I am. That's like billions. But that's how I live life. It's my birthday every single day. It's another gift from God, and I'm blessed to be here every day. So the book is about these entrepreneurial stories, some of them really famous people. For those that are based out of our market, Phoenix, one of my dear friends, Lauren Bailey, who started the Postino's group. So if you're up there, it's called Upward Projects. But if you've ever gone to Postino's or Windsor or Joyride, now she's over, several states and over 50 almost restaurants across the country. She blessed me with writing a whole chapter in there as well. So there's a lot of local people, some CEOs of pharmaceutical companies, lender, Sarah Crawford, super close friend of ours, wrote a chapter in there. So I'm going to be looking to write more books with next volume of the next 12 authors. So it's just giving back to the community and the world. You can be successful no matter how you're born, where you're born. You just got to have that drive and hunger within you.
And I would say, as Oleg's partner, his positivity is unmatched. Like I'm not like an unhappy person by any means. I feel like I'm pretty happy most of the time, easygoing. But this guy's like the hype man. You walk in, he's just every day is great, right? So it's like we walked in here, he's fist bumping, he's getting you all jacked up, and that's the kind of person you need to surround yourself with. Whatever you find in life, go find somebody like an Oleg. So,
thank you.
Dude, you and I would get along just fine, Oleg. That's how I am. I'm always just like, I think life's too short to be in a bad mood, right? Like a couple things I want to touch on that you said. One, I've been trying to write a book for a while. I got a paragraph in, so I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. It's called Becoming the Goat. As of right now, it's what it's called. But very difficult to write a book. And you said everyone has a story. I think people need to realize that you might think your life is not important. You might think your life is something that people can't learn from. And I guarantee you they can. Everyone has something about their life that other people can relate to that you've gotten through. So if you've gotten through a struggle, if you've gotten through a setback, even something small, that could help someone else that's going through it right now. So you're best equipped to help the person you used to be. So that's huge, guys. Realize that you have a story and share that story with other people. So I like that you said that. And then the other thing I wanted to say is the owner of Postino's, you might have to introduce me because I actually used to park cars at Postino's back in the day. And it'd be cool just full circle, be like, hey, I used to park cars at your restaurant. Now I don't park cars there. I just have wine and bruschetta. So it'd be cool, man. But how can people find how can people find the book?
Alwaysaheadseries.com. I added the series because it's going to be a series of volumes because every year or two I want to create another more stories. The world has to hear the stories. You could also OLEG at thebrokery.com. You can hit me up at any time. But if you on Amazon, we're on Amazon. We got an international bestseller for several business categories in there because the stories are so impactful. So Amazon, Kindle, we're on both. I haven't done audiobook yet, but Amazon, Kindle, and online is where we're at.
Nice. Would you actually read the audiobook or have someone else read it?
No, you don't want to hear my voice for an hour.
Well, people can speed it up.
Yeah. I'm going to take your advice, though, on reading audiobooks and buying the book at the same time. That was incredible. When I listened to you, I was like, I'm a slow reader and I don't like to read a lot, but I think I learned both by audio and visual. So I'm going to take your advice on that and try that out. I'm flying out tomorrow. My son is in at PSG Soccer Academy at 13, and I haven't seen him in about 6 weeks. So I'm flying out tomorrow to go visit him. So I'll be on a plane for 9, 12, 15 hours. I'm like, I got to get a book and the audio version. I want to see if it helps me get through these books.
It will, man. To give you guys context, I spoke in front of their agents last week or the week before, and something that I shared that I do, if you guys can see behind me on YouTube, I've got these books on the bookshelf. Whenever I read a book, I kind of go in la la land and I'll read a paragraph, a page or whatever, and I forget what I read and I have to go back and read it again. And then if I listen to a book, same thing, I'll be just kind of off in la la land. Didn't know what I listened to. So I put the two together. I listen to it while I'm reading, speed up the volume, so then I can actually read a ton. It's usually at I'll do 3 times the speed and try to keep up, but then I'll slow it down to 2, and it sounds like they're going really slow. Because they were going so fast at 3 times the speed, now they're reading twice as fast. I'm getting through a book in half the time and actually retaining the information. So, dude, it should definitely help you read more books for sure.
Hey, Dev, I want to circle back on some of the stuff that we just passed by as far as, being authentic to who you are and trials and tribulations that people go through and maybe past lives or who they're running from or what they're trying to become. But what we preach to our agents as well within our company is to promote those things. Don't shy away from them. Like I have an agent who went bankrupt and she was scared to share that because she thought nobody would trust her with the sale of a home or with the purchase of a home, where it's the exact opposite. I think the more authentic you are, the more you put it out there, the more trust you gain and the more that underdog story starts to build. So I think by sharing those things, it really empowers you to become even, more than the person you thought you could become. And that's because people will buy into the story. They'll get behind you. They'll support you. You're going to find like-minded individuals to collaborate with that are on the same level as you or have the same passions. So that's one thing that we would really preach to our agents. No matter how bad it got, share it. That was one thing that we took away from you last week as well, is you were just so candid and shared everything that you had and didn't hold back. And we really appreciated that from you as well. And
true, guys.
And this is coming from somebody who, I've been very open with my substance abuse problems and everything else, and that doesn't make me any less professional. What it does is I find people out in the community who have the same problem. They come to me and they say, you know what, that was really cool that you shared that with me. I dealt with the same thing. I'm part of AA, whatever it is, but they really open up to me because of that. And so I think that empowering people in that way is huge.
Dude, it makes you human. Yeah.
Approachable.
My pastor at my church, Impact Church, he's when he preaches, dude, he'll talk about smoking a blunt with someone while he's actually giving a sermon. I'm like, whoa, it's like he's joking, But then he'll talk about like his past and like how he would just like run through women. Like that makes him human.
Yep.
Like we're all human. We're sinful by nature. And if you deny that, then people can't relate to you because no one's like that. No one is perfect.
Yep.
So if you deny all of your faults, deny all of your setbacks, deny all of your tribulations and trials, you're not relatable to anybody.
Yep.
The more authentic you are to yourself, the more relatable you are to a huge amount of people, because so many people are sinful. They're broken. They're struggling, even if they seem like they're not. I have really bad days. You guys, I'm sure, have really bad days. I think the more successful you get, you learn how to not have a bad day turn into a bad week turn into a bad month turn into a bad year. You start having bad micro days. I've got a bad hour. All right, how do I switch this? Do something that puts me in a good mood. Go chill with my daughter, hang out with my dogs, whatever, right? So
one thing we talked about too was the imposter syndrome. I'm glad that you brought that up at the meeting that we had last week, is that I feel like when you're not open and you're not sharing these things, you start to feel that imposter syndrome come across yourself because you're trying to act like somebody you're not. And so I feel like that is a huge thing that people have to overcome, especially in the entrepreneurial journey, where maybe they haven't made it yet and they feel like they are being an imposter, but I don't think they are. They're just not there yet. And I think a lot of people, by opening up, being authentic, they'll overcome that way quicker in their journey.
And we're giving some straight fire on this podcast, fellas. The share button is going off like
Can you talk about
crazy.
Can you talk about the imposter syndrome from your end and how you overcame that? I know we touched on that.
Yeah, so most of my listeners here, you guys know my story. Down to $300 to my name back in 2016, bankrupt, heartbroken, thoughts of suicide, single father, like just kind of rock bottom. And I turned my life around by just working on myself. So I started really reading books. I'd never read a book before. I started really just focusing on becoming more valuable. I started looking at things like my life is kind of like a cup. If you fill a cup up with so much liquid, what happens? It spills over. So I needed to view myself like as value, fill myself up like a cup. As soon as I have enough value, it'll spill over to more people and I'll start affecting people around me. The faster I fill it up, the more it spills over, the more I can influence and help other people. So I started to do that. And there's certain times where I started to think like, who am I? Like, why would people listen to me? I'm this guy that had thoughts of suicide. I was at rock bottom. I had $300 to my name. Like, why would anyone listen to me? Makes no sense. But to that point that everyone has a story, I got past that point in my life. That was something that God placed in my life because he knew I could get past it. So I got past it. That's a win. I can share that and it can help people that are right there at that same point in their life, because again, you're best suited to help the person you used to be. So that's kind of how I got past the imposter syndrome, is always looking at little wins. Like, dude, I've got a 17-year-old daughter who's a straight A student. She's an amazing kid. That's a win. I helped do that, right? Like all these little things you can pick out of your life to stack these wins. And when you have all these wins, there's no like, oh, there's no imposter syndrome. It's like, yeah, I'm a badass. I know I'm a badass. Let me become more of a badass, right? That's just kind of how I've done it. And you guys can play off that and add some stuff to it if you want as well.
I mean, what you just said is, I had like an aha moment, is if you think about my 48 years, or you and Tucker both almost 38 or 38 years old.
Almost 40, bro. I'm pushing it. one foot in the grave.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back at all your stories, there's somebody that can relate to a portion of your story. Even when you were like 3 years old or 5 years old and you played t-ball or soccer or whatever it is, our journeys can literally relate with almost the 8 billion people on a planet on some part of your story. And like, so the more you share, the more we're a big family of manifesting. The more you manifest this and you say it out loud, the more true connections you're going to make in your life.
And the faster that you let go of resentments and things that you didn't do in the past, the further you're going to go and the faster you're going to go. Because I feel like a lot of people are living in the past, holding on to this one moment that they missed, or that something they feel like changed their life. it for the negative and they don't let go of that, that makes a difference too.
Man, that's so good. I always think about this, guys, and you guys probably do this as well. I think everyone probably does, is I have a hard time a lot of times being where my feet are at. Just being 100% present, because it's so easy to think like, well, I got to do this tomorrow. I'm building towards that, or thinking about the past, like you said. But truly just being present, like animals. Animals don't think about anything but right now, right?
True.
Like we were walking our daughter the other day because it was nice out here in Phoenix, and then it got hot all of a sudden. But we're walking, and I'm just looking at the birds. Right, this bird's flying, and then he lands on a fence.
They don't call it a bird; they call it a BRRRR.
But yeah, guys, I saw this bird land. I was like almost envious, because I was like, that bird is just present. That's all it knows, is just what's happening right now, and its instincts and all that stuff. And it's like, I was jealous. I was like, why can't I be like that? And then I started realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, I am being like that. I'm noticing the bird around me while I'm on the walk. So important to be present and not think about the past, because you can't change the past. You really can't affect the future unless you're fully present in right now and doing your best right now. If you keep doing your best every single second right now, you'll have a really freaking good future.
100%.
I think a lot of people get scared, especially as entrepreneurs. Maybe they lost in the past. Maybe they tried something and it didn't work out. So they base their next future decision on that loss, thinking they can't do it. Whereas if they maybe just tweak their mindset and reframed it a little bit, like, hey, what did I learn from this? How can I apply that to this new transaction, rather than just shutting down and being like too scared to go there? You know what I mean? So reframing, always continue to move forward. Whether, if you don't have the loser mindset, think you're going in, you're going to win, and you're just going to make one little shift that maybe would have changed the previous deal. But I think a lot of people get caught in their losses from the past. Like, I've lost a lot, and maybe the Brokery, the one thing that we've succeeded on, is the one thing that I've done well. Everything else, I've probably lost 6 other times that nobody's ever seen. Even in our day-to-day businesses, we go on listing appointments. We don't win every single listing appointment, but we do learn from every listing appointment. And then we implement something new on the next one to help us change the odds in our favor of winning. But even us as pros, and we sell a lot of real estate, we'll go into listing appointments and we'll lose. It's just part of the game. But if you're not sitting in enough tables, you're losing. Like, we just are appreciative of the opportunity to be there. And even if we lose, that's great, because we got the at bat, and we go on and we make a tweak next time and we win the next one. So it's all about getting to the table and then adjusting from there.
Learning from the mistakes. Guys, that's huge, because I'll share with you guys how I played my single life. I looked at it like, if I was in baseball and I only got on base 1 out of 4 or 5 times, or let's say I got on base 3 out of 10 times, I'd be in the Hall of Fame. So I looked at it like that with women. Like, if I strike out 7 times out of 10, I'm in the Hall of Fame, right? So you have to be willing to make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes and just keep failing forward. The most successful people fail a ton. You guys have failed a ton. I've failed a ton. So what's kind of like the biggest lessons you guys have learned from those failures?
I mean, in my opinion, if you're not getting to the table often enough, you're losing. If you're getting to the table and you're losing, that's great. You're getting the at-bats. That's what you need. And then over time, you're going to continue to close more and more percentage of those deals. But if you're not getting the at-bats, you're not doing something right. You're losing in some other area. But if you're getting the at-bats, that's where it's made. The things that we learn the most, what do you think?
I would say literally having an accountability, a coach / mentor, is one of the most valuable assets you could ever have. For us, Tucker and I, we're our own accountability people. Like, just by showing up every day, he holds me accountable. He doesn't even have to say anything. Just by me seeing him every day, I'm accountable to him. I'm accountable to my wife. I'm accountable to my kids. So I wake up every morning knowing that having 80 agents, and then having the director of operations, and having a graphic designer and a designated broker, bills that I have to pay, holds me accountable. When you start having to pay yourself the check, when you become your own bank,
BYOB,
right? When you become your own bank, and you see your bank account going down a little bit, you're like, shit, I'm gonna get up earlier tomorrow and get to work and fill up the account. having that kind of, I don't even call it pressure. I'm blessed to have it. It's an accountability I've created mentally myself that makes me wake up every morning and go to work. It's funny you see me in a suit. I joked around today. I don't have a 3-piece suit on. On the weekends, even 10 years ago, if I didn't put on a suit in the morning, my kids would be like, "Dad, what, you're not working today?" It was a shocker to them. Like, because I would still go out every Saturday and Sunday, sit open houses when we were generating our business. And like, I did see me in a suit for 30, 40, a whole year straight. One day be like, "What, Dad, you're wearing jeans? Are you feeling okay? Like, what's wrong with you?" So having that accountability or coach and mentor is one of the most valuable thing. The younger you can get it in your life, someone that's willing to risk their time, take time away from them to invest into you, is what I'm so blessed that I wish I'd learned it earlier. I always had my parents and somebody, but I just didn't realize that they were my mentors. They were my coaches at a younger age.
Yeah, and you guys need to think about it too, is like a mentor is someone you want to be like, right? So I remember when I was getting into real estate, I told my dad, and he was like giving me direction. He's like, "You don't want to do that, son. You don't want to fix toilets. You don't want to do this. You're not very handy." I literally don't know how to swing a hammer. So I understood what he was saying. But my dad's never invested in real estate. Why would I take his advice on how to be a real estate investor from someone who's never done it? It's like, I can't stand when I go into the gym and I see a trainer who's out of shape.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, dude, why would anyone listen to you? You're out of shape. So it's one of those things, guys, where you got to figure out what you want. If you want a great marriage, get a mentor who is a phenomenal husband or wife. If you want a great business, get a mentor who is a great entrepreneur. If you want to get in good shape, have someone who's freaking jacked show you how to do it. You have to pick the right mentors, and you don't have to just take their time. You can literally pay them. As we were saying before, if you're a business owner or 1099, if you pay someone to be your mentor, that's a write-off. And you're becoming more valuable because you're shortening the learning curve. They're going to show you things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. They're going to show you those things so you can get past that learning curve. Would you guys agree?
100%.
For sure. And Oleg and I never had a mentor in the real estate business as we grew from zero to where we are now. We had a designated broker at the time who owned the company who really didn't pour back into us. And we had to learn, like we said, through a lot of losses. But where we've gotten to now with this business coach is the short period of time that we've been with him, we've grown exponentially further because of him. And Devin, you're a basketball guy. You know, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Kobe Bryant had Phil Jackson. I mean, those are guys that are operating at the highest of highs, and they still have a coach, helping them to run the triangle offense, whatever they're trying to implement. But those are the stories that we like to tell as well, as that our coach, and it's not even business. It's not even real estate related. It's just mindset. It's business. It's just general, like, how are you guys operating together? It doesn't have to be specific to where or applicable to your real estate business. It just needs to be overarching and maybe, like, again, zooming out, bird's eye view. How are you guys operating? Do you guys have the right systems in place? How are you guys scaling when you onboard 30 more agents? It's things that we don't always think about day to day, but when you zoom out, mean a lot to the company and the business both as a whole.
I'm glad you mentioned Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant because they needed coaches. They needed Phil Jackson.
Yep.
LeBron James don't need no coach. He is the coach. LeBron James is the GOAT, ladies and gentlemen. And this is coming from someone who saw Michael Jordan play live. And LeBron's just the GOAT. He's the greatest player of all time.
I will disagree with that with you all day long.
You know, the funny thing is, like, if you say Jordan's the GOAT, I can't really argue it. Like, he's the GOAT in some aspects. If you look at, like, what is greatness, he changed the game. He changed the sneaker game. Like, I've got a bunch of Jordans behind me, not LeBron's. So that's kind of greatness, right? He was 6-0 in the finals.
He was 6-0.
That was greatness, right? But he also had the best rebounder of all time, the best three-point shooters of all time, or some of the best three-point shooters. He had the best Robin of all time, the best coach of all time. He was in an era where they weren't as athletic and as gifted. So you can make the argument.
True. You had Larry Bird. You had Magic Johnson.
Larry Bird would not stand a chance in the league today.
Magic Johnson. And then you had players
Magic Johnson wouldn't stand a chance today.
Now the three-point line has moved up to, like, the foul line. You could travel from half court and nobody calls it. You can't even sneeze on a player without getting a foul called. It's a whole different game.
That's
so
why
much
it's
easier. It's easier.
It's hard to compare them because it's different eras. But dude, Magic Johnson couldn't last today. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Couldn't last.
crazy statement.
That's like saying Wilt Chamberlain could last today.
No, he could. He wouldn't be scoring 100 points a game, but he would last for sure.
Those guys like Towns and those bigger guys would bump him all over the place.
He'd get dominated. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And then Shaq probably wouldn't be able to play in today's game because it's not an inside out game. Like it's totally different. But I'm from just a pure basketball like skills, can do everything. LeBron is the greatest of all time. Best rebounder on his team almost every single year. Best passer, best defender, can guard all 5 positions. Jordan was the best scorer.
Jordan was the number 1 defensive team MVP. He won so many more.
Love that it went down.
So many
I
more
love it.
accolades, and just his demeanor on the court. If you talk about a GOAT, it's not just the athleticism. If athleticism, Jordan's more athletic. But if you talked about just what he brought to the game, right? The aspect of the game, Jordan just took it. He won 3 back-to-back, took 2 years off, came back and won another 3 back-to-back. He actually would have won more back-to-back. Not only did he win 6, he won back-to-back-to-back. LeBron James had to go from team to team. It's always that he blamed his teammates. Jordan never blamed his teammates when he didn't even have good teammates, and he still won.
Man, I'll give you this. Jordan is GOAT B, and LeBron is GOAT A. All right,
It's your show. I'll step off on that one.
What do you think, Tuck?
I'll spin it back to real estate for you. That's what I'll do.
Switzerland.
Yeah, no, I'm a LeBron guy. But in our partnership, for example, again, going back to partners, or if you guys have business partners, if you don't, you should try to find one. And they don't have to be just like you, right? You can have a LeBron and you can have a Jordan, and they can be different players, but contribute the same to a team.
That's right.
Right? So like Oleg and I were so much different. We went to dinner with 10 of our agents last night, celebrating them as top producers at our company. And they all said when they got up to speak, because we made everybody go around the table and speak, how much different we are, but how much it works, right? And so you can have a LeBron here and I can be Jordan, but we each bring something special to the team that makes it work for everybody. And without both of them, right, without Scottie to Michael's Jordan, they might not have been the same, right? So like, I think he elevates me, I elevate him, and that's what you need.
Yeah, you always need the Scottie, because Jordan without Scottie, he was getting bounced in the first round. Just saying. Just saying. Couldn't make it past the first round. And that's your GOAT? Come on now.
He was 18 at that time, bro. He was still in diapers.
He came out of college at 22.
I know. He didn't have the right coach. Remember, it's about coaching. It's not about the partnership. The right coach.
Here we go. So he's not the greatest player. He's the greatest in a system.
Which made him the greatest.
But coachable is a great attribute.
It's a huge attribute. Who else under the same coach won 6 championships all back to back to back? Nobody.
Well, I can tell you this, that after Jordan, Phil Jackson was able to win 5 more titles, right?
Correct.
So after Kobe, after Jordan, he was able to win 5 others with Kobe, right?
Yeah.
So LeBron, any title he's won, the coaches haven't done anything since. Any of the other players haven't done anything since. LeBron literally is the one that brought them to where they're at. You said that he had to find different teammates. Think about every person that he was with, bro. They didn't do anything after LeBron.
Kyrie Irving has won afterwards.
Hasn't won a title.
Kyrie Irving is just he was in the system. He had great players around him. He just didn't make everybody better around him. That's the difference.
Hasn't won a title. Only got to the finals last year, right?
He's been in the league for 20 years. Hopefully he does win 6 titles. Jody didn't need 20 years to win 6 titles.
Yeah, he had to leave for 2 years because he couldn't handle all the pressure. And there was no social media back then. And that's your GOAT? Come on.
Maynard's so special. He still was able to play baseball and come back, take 2 years off, and win 3 back-to-back. That's unbelievable. Imagine taking 2 years off of your podcast and then coming back and being the GOAT of the podcast. That's incredible.
I mean, if I had the greatest coach of all time help me with my podcast, it would probably happen. All seriousness, guys. All seriousness. It's very, very important to have a coach. Everyone needs a coach except for LeBron James. But it's very important to have one. So make sure you find one that you resonate with. Do you guys do any coaching outside of Brokery?
No, we don't. I mean, we coach agents within our company. If other agents from outside want some consultation, they should join the Brokery.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really it.
Yeah, we coach we do pods every week. We mentor our agents every day. We coach our agents and we elevate their brand and their results. So we give back so much to our agents.
And we don't hide anything. We're an open book. We don't have secrets that nobody gets. What we do is we provide you with the playbook, and you can run it or you cannot run it. What I found in business is no matter how much I give you, you're never going to be able to do it the same as somebody else, right? Because the way that I operate and the way that you operate, your discipline, my discipline, it's not all the same, right? So there's some people that do really well cold calling, and there's other people that do really well sending out mailers and closing off of a mailer. You have to pick a system that works for you and that's scalable regardless of how busy you are. And I think that that's where people struggle, is they try to emulate somebody else that maybe isn't in alignment with who they are as a person. So we try to coach and mentor in a way that we found best for us and the way that people can be most successful without recreating that wheel. We give you the playbook to run, depending on your personality type. And I think that's really where the fit is.
It's good too, because you guys are both so different. So a lot of the people might relate more to Oleg, and then some people might relate more to Tucker. So the way you guys deliver the same exact thing could be polar opposites, but one person's going to take it, the other person's not, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's the importance of having like a partner that's different than you. The yin and yang.
Yeah. And then also when you came in last week and delivered your message, I know that we spoke about how if it's coming from somebody else outside of us, you can say the exact same thing, Devin, but when you say it to our company rather than us, it resonates. Even though we've been telling them that exact same thing for a year straight, right? You talked about your daughter and how when you tell your daughter something, she doesn't listen. But then say that her mom tells her friend tells her, it's different. So I think that's also key, is just having people around you. You're surrounded by people that want to see you win, and maybe you have different points of contact or different perspectives to take in and put it back out to the world.
I'm just going to come into you guys' office like once a month and be like, go to more open houses. Have a good day. They're just going to go to more open houses and be like, do more seller appointments. Have a good day. And they're going to do more, right? You guys have been saying it and saying it and saying it. I come in and say it once, sales take off. I'll just take like 5% off the top, nothing crazy.
Perfect.
Right?
That's it. Just get your license. We'll give you a referral fee.
I was actually trying to get my license in 2020. I was like doing all the studying, and dude, I'm like the worst studier ever. I can't do it. Ever since high school.
I think I told you not to get it.
I think you did, actually.
At the time you were trying to get wholesale stuff. I'm like, dude, you don't want to be beholden to the rules. You go and do some stuff out there without having to break.
Yeah, because you have to disclose everything when you're a realtor.
And when you go to a seller and they think that you're trying to pick off their house and you're an agent, that's not a good look. If you're just Devin BRRRR, that some guy who buys houses, that's seen as a lot more reasonable. So yeah, that's why I think I not to get your license.
Well, guys, I actually just started getting into deeds, buying deeds. You guys heard anything about this?
No.
Yeah.
You've heard a little bit about it, Ulrich?
Yeah, tax lien.
The tax lien game, or
kind of just like properties that have just a bunch of crap that no one wants to deal with. So tax liens, bankruptcies, inherited properties with debt, just really sticky situations. So you go in and buy the deed because the person already knows they're losing the house. So on average, we're acquiring the deeds for $3,000 a pop. So you have the ownership now of the house with the deed, the quitclaim deed. Then you get a POA, so you can go negotiate all the stuff on the back end. And we've got a team that's like a loss mitigation team. So they clear up all that BS, takes average 45 to 60 days. And now since we own the property and all that stuff is cleared up, we can choose our exit. We can wholesale, we can flip, we can subject to, we can do the BRRRR method, whatever. So it's there's not a lot of competition because no one really wants these dead deals.
Can I draw off one more bit of knowledge? I think you and I talked about it too when you were in the real estate, when you're getting started in the real estate game. I think if you're someone who's looking to do development or looking to do flips, I always try to talk people out of it. If you have $300,000 to invest, let's say you're going to put it into a flip, you're better off lending that money to your friend at 10 to 12 or 15%, which I know is what you do now, and being the bank. The bank always wins. Regardless of if that flipper investor makes money on the home or not, the only person that won the entire time that they held that property was the bank. So if you have $300,000 to invest, become a hard money lender, give your money to somebody who can invest it for you. I know that that's what you're doing, Devin, if you want to speak on that, but don't do flips and development. Just be the bank and always make 10 to 15% on the money. No risk.
It's the best way to be in real estate is to be the bank, because the bank always makes their money. What you guys want to do if you're going to be a private lender is you have to get a lien position. Super important. Think about a bank. Like if you buy a house, you have a mortgage, they have a lien on the house. So if you stop making payments on the mortgage, they can take the house. That's their collateral. So you want to get that same collateral by getting a lien position on that deal. If you're lending $300,000, you got a first lien position. I'm a big Will Ferrell fan. So if you ain't first, you're last. Talladega Nights, right? So be first position so that way if anything happens, you can take that asset. In a best case scenario, like you almost kind of want them not to pay you because then you've got an asset, right? You got to go through some BS to get it, but you've got an asset now. So lend money, have that steady drip coming back in. And then once you have enough coming back in, it's all autopilot. Now you can start doing the flips and the things that are a little more risky and take a little bit more sweat equity. And then you can get bigger rips to lend more money and just have, again, that steady drip of passive income. Lending is the only passive income, in my opinion, in real estate. Truly passive.
Yeah.
You know? But guys, it's been a pleasure having you on. Fastest hour of my life. Insane. We're already a little bit over an hour. So let's leave the viewers with some nuggets, just little bits of info. Let's start with you, Oleg. If you could go back to when you were 18 years old, what would you tell 18-year-old knucklehead Oleg?
Invest in yourself early. Take the risks. Like you said earlier, when I got married and I had a lot more responsibility, I actually wish I got into real estate at 18 versus getting my license in my mid-30s. So if you're a risk taker, if you want to start your own landscaping business, whatever your entrepreneurial mindset and heart is, do it early. Take some bumps on the road, but your upside is going to be so big. And the quicker you can become your own bank, meaning if you do buy houses, take a HELOC, take the equity out, refinance it, become your bank, your own bank, the quicker you're going to hit your successes in life.
Love it. Tuck, I know 18-year-old Tuck. I remember him. So what would you do differently? What would you tell him?
Uninterrupted compound interest. No, I'm just kidding. That's not much.
I paid him to say that.
No, I mean, I wish I did invest early, like Oleg said, but always invest in yourself. That's number one. And I think going back to if you're 16 to 18, you have so much more life in front of you. I always thought that was like, people are telling you to get your stuff together. And the people that are telling you to get your stuff together, your parents, your grandparents, they don't even have their stuff together and they're 40 or 50, right? And you're looking up to them. Or they might not have life experience where you want to go. Like you said, you wanted to get into real estate and your dad told you it wasn't a good fit. And it's just because he didn't invest in property. So I would make sure that you're not listening to the wrong people. Always invest in yourself and you have so much more life ahead of you.
I love it. Yeah, my dad's actually asking now to get into deals with me. He's like, he's retired. I helped him get his 401k over to a self-directed IRA.
Yeah.
He's like, where should I put it? Should I put it in with some of your real estate deals? I'm like, sure. Didn't you tell me not to do this back in the day? But guys, it was a pleasure having you on. Everyone listening, if you got value, which I know you did, make sure to share this episode with everyone you know. Any real estate agents, any realtors that want to learn more, reach out to these two. They are a wealth of knowledge, especially in the Phoenix metropolitan area is what they specialize in. So guys, until next time, I love y'all. Peace.